So, hey Bree, we haven't been on our Facebook group for a hot minute.
You're totally right. Yes.
It's been a while. But the reason being that we have been honoring your maternity leave for one, and getting kind of to the 1 year mark with um, with Grayson, right? So you can tell us a little bit, fill us in. How did that go?
Thank you. Yes. It's so good to be back. I love when you say a hot minute. I just love that. I don't know every time you say it, it just brings a smile to my face. But honestly, connecting with you always brings a smile to my face. So it's another, good reason to be here and together. So yes, so brief update. I'll try to keep it brief. So I guess the last time we came on, I probably was like at the end of being pregnant and feeling ready to be done with that. But yeah, so it went well in the sense that we were both healthy. I would say the last year was a struggle from a getting enough rest and sleep standpoint. And of course, as we keep coming back on, I'm sure I will end up sharing more detail about that in coming weeks. But yeah, it's been good, but it's also been a lot of practice in something that we were going to talk about today, which is like honoring our calendar. I've been working on honoring my calendar and especially honoring the parts that that I put in the category of self-care, because I had this interesting habit of what do you call that? I guess shifting it, moving it, or ignoring it to get other things done. Anyway, so it's been really interesting in the last few weeks. That's been kind of something I've been working on more, and I felt like it was an interesting topic to bring.
Yeah.
Our little chat.
Why do you think that you were shifting it?
I think I was shifting it. It's funny. I'm like, I think I was thinking. So my thought was probably somehow I was thinking that it wasn't important, because I think it's a combination of things, but I want to just acknowledge a little bit that there might be some amount of like preconditioned social programming that tells women to like put other people first. So I want to just acknowledge that. But then also, I'm sure I contributed my own version of telling myself that, just everybody else needs things first, and and that work is more important. And I think the truth is, right, like I love my coworkers, I love my family, I love my patients, and I do think they're super important. So it's like, on the one hand, that's a really good thing. On the other hand, it can be a little problematic when you're kind of like just not giving yourself quite enough time on your calendar. I guess maybe that's
Yeah. I mean, I asked because like this is really the core of it, right? Like what thought came up for you that led you to the action or the feeling and the
Thank
action,
you for bringing me back.
right? Yeah. Like
I
it's
mean,
so
honestly,
interesting.
I'll be
Yeah,
honest. It's a little bit like I'm being vulnerable here, but
of
I think
course.
it's something along the lines of like, I'm not as important as XYZ other thing. And I would put just about anything there. It'd be like laundry or cleaning or grocery shopping, tidying things. I mean, I was putting almost everything under the sun before, like making sure I did my exercises, my like physical therapy, because it turns out I've like kind of got this problematic situation in my hip now. And so I have like numbness down my leg. And anyway, that's another story I can tell another time. But it probably developed when I was like breastfeeding my daughter, and like I was like sitting in really uncomfortable positions for hours on end, and like, I love her and I wanted to, make sure I was feeding her and stuff, but the truth is like I kind of, caused myself some damage along the way there. So all of these things have been learning experiences, and yeah, so I'm just bringing it forward that in the last couple of weeks,
Yeah.
I finally have, I think it's been like 2 weeks, and I have not pushed my physical therapy time.
Congratulations. That's amazing. So such a good thing.
My physical
Yeah.
therapist is very proud of me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so what do you think that shift was? Why did you decide to prioritize it?
That's such a good question. I feel like it's interesting that it's been kind of a slow like evolution. And part of it's that I, meet with you fairly regularly and we check in as we are right now. And you ask me good coaching questions. And, I think, okay, what am I thinking? What am I doing here? What are my actions? What are the results
Yeah.
I'm getting in my life? But I don't think it was any one thing that necessarily produced a big change, but it was kind of slow over time. I guess I finally just decided I wanted a different result and needed to take different actions, which, had to have some different thoughts there.
But it wasn't that something culminated and it became the pain of not doing it became more than the pain of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really great question. And in some ways, there probably was something that tipped it, but I don't know exactly.
It doesn't have to be. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Because I think oftentimes that comes up with procrastination, right? Like the pain of actually sitting down and getting yourself to do something, which, for me, I was up till midnight last night working on a presentation because I decided the pain of having to tell somebody I'm still working on it. She was expecting a draft. I guess the embarrassment of having to then tell her it's still not done, that pain outweighed the pain of sitting down and actually just getting it done. So I think sometimes it's interesting to look at like what's driving it. Is it, are we avoiding pain in some way? Are we going towards pleasure, or are we just minimizing energy spent? So it's the that triad, right?
I mean,
so
it was a little bit of like physical pain, right? I was like,
okay,
actually having physical pain. That's why I went to like,
right,
find somebody to help me with it. And then of course, as a doctor, I know if I don't do my exercises, like obviously I'm not going to get better.
Yeah.
So it was funny because it was almost like in a way it was a bit comedic because I was like, like I need to be my own patient, or I need to, kind of listen to my own advice and just start doing the thing, because it's
amazing.
Not going to go away. The pain's not going to go away if I don't just do it.
Yeah. And I love that. I think a message for everyone listening would be just start doing it, even if it's that inertia, that like little bit of activation energy of just starting.
Yeah.
Even just starting connecting here on our Facebook Live again. We're like, let's just start doing it again. So I think that is an amazing message. So deciding, so you made a decision, you prioritized it. In some way you decided it was important enough to do, and you just started.
Yeah. Oh, actually, quick. What or I guess it's kind of like two things, but first, it was that just starting, and then it was slowly building. So like I built up this week to doing, an amount that I think is probably going to actually start to, create some change that will help with the pain and stuff. But I've spent probably a couple months already building up slowly with like smaller increments. So I guess I wanted to offer that too, because I feel like a lot of times, it's like just starting, but even that starting point can be really like what a lot of times we think of as small. Maybe we don't have to think of it that way, but like incrementally adding pieces to the point.
Doing the one thing and adding on top of it, and it builds up. I love it.
That piece in.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to offer that I just realized the kind of thought that I ended up sort of transitioning to. And again, it was sort of slower over time, because I think if I, again, if you paste over a thought right away, it often doesn't land or function as well in changing your action. But I have come around to a thought, instead of, that's not important, or this thing isn't important, is that I value myself highly. And therefore I am going to honor I've chosen dark green on my calendar. So I will honor the dark green parts on my calendar. Like
I love that.
Anything else. So anyway.
I honor myself highly, and that visual cue on your calendar of dark green, that is somehow like it's going to get done. And that's a number one priority. Yeah. That's great. I love it.
Myself highly.
Yeah, so another tip for everyone, if you are calendaring your day, if you're like a visual person like we are as pathologists, pick a color that like stands out to you, that's like warm, inviting, that you want to pay attention to. I mean, to be honest, I sometimes just use red if it's something I really want my eye to be drawn towards, and this is a non-negotiable, this is absolutely going to get done today, then that's what I'll do. But some of the things I do like kind of more calm and peaceful colors. If it's coaching, for me is a lovely thing I love to do, so that gets like a nice warm peach color. Yeah, awesome.
A nice warm peachy pink for me.
Yes, peach pink.
But like
Amazing. Right, right. Same.
Well,
Is there anything else?
have anything you wanted to add or an insight you wanted to bring forward from like the last, I don't know, week or months or time?
So for me, I think transitions is always a thing that I have been focused on, and coaching has helped tremendously with. I've gone through a transition to taking on a little bit more pathology work, and it's kind of what we always say, right? We get the result we're looking for or the lesson we needed, and in this case, I got a little of both. And the lesson I needed was to figure out kind of that threshold of how much is too much, and being patient with the process and not throwing the baby out with the bathwater of like, oh, it's just not working. All of this is too hard. No, yes, and right. Yes, it's hard. And how can I take a part of this, allow for the hard, because I think transitions just are hard, right? We're learning either a new skill or we're adjusting, our habits are getting disrupted. For me, my sleep schedule was getting disrupted. I was definitely working until the wee hours of the morning, trying to get my work done, and noticing the next day, what are the consequences, right? I don't feel as good. So I'm going to say no to that. And like, what can I do to like scale back? So for me, the lesson has been just being patient with the process of transitions and learning from it, giving myself space to let it be hard, but also deciding nothing is permanent. Like I can change my mind, I can decide something different, I can toggle things around, right? So I think for all of us in busy schedules, we decide how much is too much, um, and then also come up with different ways to support yourself. So the other thing that's happened since I've been on is I hired more help in the morning. So things that I don't do dishes anymore. I don't do laundry anymore. I no longer get the kids' lunch boxes together, do the driving. So there's a lot of things that I've offloaded to make room for the things that are kind of my zone of genius, right? Which I think we can all ask ourselves, what is my zone of genius? Where do I want to spend my precious hours of the day, and where can I get maximum return? It doesn't always have to be maximum return. It can just be like, oh, I like doing dishes and I'm just going to do them once in a while. That's not me. But once in a while, I do like to cook. I've offloaded a lot of the cooking, but sometimes I'm just like, you know what? And maybe it's not super efficient, but I enjoy it. I'm going to do it anyways, right? So I think we all have to figure out like, where are we with that? Are we doing stuff that we don't want to do that someone else can do better, perhaps, and we can figure that out? And yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. It's been a lot of adjusting.
That's so good. I feel like I had a couple of thoughts like as you were talking, and it was first of all that like I totally applaud transitions and patience with the transitions, in the sense that I feel like
You've had a lot of patience with the transitions. I've been telling you, I've been pushing some of our meetings. Because I'm like either overwhelmed with too much work and I'm trying to scale back, so thank you for your patience too, Bree.
No, I love it. I just love it. And then what you're saying, even just at the end there about efficiency, I just thought it was interesting that something I was thinking about recently is giving also permission sometimes, right? Maybe not all the time, but some wiggle room around either being maximally efficient or not maximally efficient. And I thought that was an interesting concept that I bumped up against, in the sense that I think for me, my patterning a lot of times is to like push for maximum efficiency, and I get kind of frustrated when things aren't, super efficient. But, you know, like having kids or doing job transitions or taking on more work, all of these things, right? You're just not gonna be maximally efficient sometimes or many
That's
times.
right.
So that's been a little bit on my mind, like permission to not be maximally efficient. So I guess I want to offer to anyone who's watching at any point, whenever you see this, you have permission to not be maximally efficient.
Yeah,
Maybe today or whenever.
absolutely. Love it.
All right.
Sounds good. Well, this is our first of many to come. We're going to start popping on here more often. And we're happy to take questions. If anyone has questions, they can put them in our Facebook group. Of course, we always have our website if you want to have like just a one-on-one chat with either of us. We have initial free 20-minute sessions that you can book on directly on our website, totally free, just to kind of get to figure out what coaching is all about, if that's something you're interested in. Obviously, we're fans. It's helped us a lot. We want to spread and share the love there too. All right. Sounds good. Have a wonderful Monday, everyone.